Ever stop and wonder why the parking lot at your local shopping center feels a little emptier than it did last year? Maybe a store you used to visit every week now has paper covering the windows. Maybe the lights are off in a building that used to be packed on Saturday afternoons. You're not imagining things. In just the past year alone, more than 3,200 retail locations across the United States have shut their doors permanently. And these aren't small, unknown shops nobody's heard of. We're talking about some of the biggest names in American retail, brands your family has shopped at for decades, brands that once felt permanent. According to current projections, that number could easily double before we reach the middle of 2026. That's not a slow decline. That's an avalanche. And if you're living in states like Florida, Texas, or California, the next round of closures may hit much closer to home than you think. Behind the scenes, major corporations are quietly swapping out human workers for AI systems, slashing expensive rental agreements, and moving their businesses almost entirely online. The storefronts you grew up with are being replaced by algorithms, warehouses, and delivery vans. And here's what nobody's saying out loud. Once these stores disappear from your neighborhood, they're not coming back. So here's the real question. Are you going to keep shopping on autopilot, or are you going to pay attention to what's really happening before it's too late? I'm about to break down the 10 biggest retail chains in America that are actively closing stores right now, explain what's really driving these decisions, and show you exactly what it means for your wallet, your job, and your community. Make sure you stick around until the end, because that's when I'll reveal the company quietly planning what could become the single largest layoff in the United States in 2026. Let's get into it. Number 1. Walmart. And I'm starting here because when even Walmart starts shutting doors, you know something deeply troubling is happening in this country. For generations, Walmart has been the fallback option for American families when money gets tight. It's the store people turn to when paychecks don't stretch far enough, where groceries cost less, everyday necessities feel attainable, and budgets can be pushed just a bit further. But in 2025, even Walmart is buckling under the pressure. Across the country, from Chicago and Portland to Albuquerque and San Diego, shoppers are starting to see something that once felt unthinkable: Walmart store closure signs becoming a regular sight. And here's what makes this even more confusing. Walmart isn't failing financially. The company still brings in over $600 billion in annual revenue, making it one of the most profitable retailers on the planet. But behind that massive headline number is a sprawling network of more than 4,600 stores, many of which are under intense and growing pressure. In working-class neighborhoods, once the backbone of Walmart's success, sales have dropped sharply as the cost of living continues to climb. Families are spending less, visiting stores less often, and walking out with smaller carts than ever before. Shoppers are also shifting their purchasing power toward cheaper online platforms, forcing Walmart to confront a difficult truth. Some locations simply no longer generate enough income to stay open, and that's just the most visible part of the problem. Beneath the surface, a much more serious issue has been quietly eating away at the company's foundation: retail theft. Walmart's CEO has openly warned that if theft continues at its current pace, the company will have no choice but to shut down even more stores. According to data from the National Retail Federation, retailers across the United States lost more than $112 billion to theft in 2023 alone. That's a nearly 20% jump compared to just 2 years earlier. In many cities, police departments are stretched thin, and laws that overlook theft under $1,000 make enforcement even harder. As a result, some Walmart locations, especially in urban areas, aren't closing because they lack customers. They're closing because the cost of security has become impossible to sustain. At the same time, Walmart is undergoing a massive transformation behind the scenes. The company is pouring billions of dollars into artificial intelligence, warehouse robotics, and automated distribution systems. Its entire supply chain is being rebuilt, with the most efficient stores converted into hybrid hubs that serve both in-store shoppers and online delivery orders. The future Walmart model is clear: fewer locations, but faster, smarter, and far more technologically advanced. Still, when a Walmart closes, the impact on local communities is immediate and painful. Each shutdown eliminates hundreds of jobs, strips small towns of a major shopping hub, and slows the local economy almost overnight. For many people, Walmart isn't just a place to buy affordable groceries. It's a routine, a workplace, and a familiar part of life that's been there for 20 or even 30 years. When those doors finally close, it's not just a store disappearing, it's a piece of the community being erased. Number 2, Amazon Fresh. And this one honestly blows my mind because it proves that even the most powerful company on earth can't buy its way out of a bad idea. Imagine a checkout-free grocery store shutting down because the technology running it costs more than the food being sold. That sounds like a sci-fi movie plot. But for hundreds of Amazon Fresh employees recently laid off in California, Washington, and Illinois, this is their reality. Stores that were once celebrated for having no cashiers and no checkout lines are now sitting dark and silent. Locked doors, empty shelves, closure signs hanging in the windows. What was once marketed as a revolutionary leap forward has become a symbol of ambition that moved way too fast. Amazon promised to reinvent the way Americans shop for groceries. To make that happen, the company poured billions of dollars into its Just Walk Out technology, a system designed to let customers grab what they want and leave while cameras and AI automatically handle payment. But that vision fell apart for one simple reason: cost. The advanced sensors and AI-powered camera networks required millions of dollars every year just to operate. At the same time, revenue dropped as shoppers drifted back to cheaper, more familiar grocery stores. By 2024, Amazon's grocery division was losing more than $700 million annually, forcing leadership to cut jobs and shut down locations that couldn't justify their own existence. Here's the part that really gets me. The truth is, most Americans aren't ready to shop in a fully camera-monitored supermarket. People still want to feel products in their hands, speak with store employees, ask about deals, and shop without being tracked every step of the way. No amount of smart technology can rescue a business model that ignores how people actually want to live. And that's the lesson Amazon is learning the hard way. You can have the most advanced technology in the world, but if customers don't want it, none of it matters. Number 3, Foot Locker. And this one stings because if you grew up loving sneakers, Foot Locker was the place. There was a time when stepping into a Foot Locker felt almost sacred for sneaker fans. Whenever a new pair of Nike Air or Adidas Yeezy dropped, crowds lined up outside the store like it was a ceremony, waiting patiently for their moment inside. Today, that image lives only in memory. In 2025, Foot Locker officially announced the shutdown of more than 400 locations across North America, with most of the closures hitting major shopping malls. The very spaces that once fueled the brand's rise are now dragging it down. The core of Foot Locker's crisis is straightforward. Nike, which once accounted for more than 70% of the company's revenue, has been cutting its wholesale partnerships to push more customers directly to its own website and Nike-branded stores. That means fewer exclusive launches at Foot Locker, fewer reasons for sneaker enthusiasts to make the trip, and a gaping hole in what used to be the brand's biggest draw. In parallel, foot traffic in shopping malls has plummeted by more than 30% since 2019, and younger shoppers are increasingly buying sneakers from resale platforms and direct brand apps. In response, Foot Locker has been trying to rebrand itself. They're experimenting with smaller, digital-first store formats and pushing community-based shopping experiences. But the numbers so far haven't been encouraging. Revenue continues to decline. Same-store sales keep dropping, and the closures keep accelerating. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Foot Locker isn't just losing stores, it's losing relevance. And in retail, once you lose relevance, the math becomes unforgiving very quickly. Number 4, Walgreens. And this is the one that honestly scares me the most, because of what it means for everyday Americans. Walgreens isn't a mall store or a luxury brand. It's where people go to fill prescriptions, buy over-the-counter medicine, and pick up essentials when they don't have time for a full grocery run. In many neighborhoods, especially low-income and rural communities, Walgreens is the closest thing to a healthcare provider that people have. Now, the company has announced the closure of more than 1,200 locations across the United States. And the scale of this pullback is almost hard to believe. A company that once operated nearly 9,000 stores is deliberately shrinking itself by more than 13%. These closures aren't random either. They're disproportionately affecting urban neighborhoods and rural towns where profitability is weakest, but where need is greatest. The reasons stack up fast. Prescription drug reimbursement rates have been dropping for years. Competition from Amazon Pharmacy, Mark Cuban's cost-plus drugs, and mail order services is pulling customers away. Retail theft has devastated hundreds of locations, particularly in major cities, and operating costs, rent, labor, insurance, have all climbed faster than revenue. For communities left behind, the consequences are real and immediate. When the only pharmacy within miles disappears, seniors who depend on daily medications suddenly face 30-minute drives just to pick up their prescriptions. Working families lose their most convenient option for basic health needs. And neighborhoods that were already underserved become even more isolated. Let me be very clear about this. When a Walgreens closes in your neighborhood, it's not just a business decision. It's a public health event, and millions of Americans are about to feel it firsthand. Number 5. Kroger. Now, this one caught me completely off guard, because Kroger isn't just any grocery chain. It's the largest traditional supermarket operator in the United States. With more than 2,700 stores, Kroger feeds millions of American families every single week. But in 2025, even Kroger is quietly closing underperforming locations and restructuring its operations in ways that should make every shopper pay attention. The company has been caught in the same squeeze hitting the entire grocery industry. Food prices have surged by 25% over the past 3 years. Consumer spending habits have shifted dramatically. Families that once filled their carts are now buying only what they absolutely need. Meanwhile, discount competitors like Aldi and Lidl are expanding aggressively, offering rock-bottom prices that Kroger's traditional model can't match without destroying its own margins. At the same time, Kroger has been investing heavily in automation and digital fulfillment centers, pouring billions into systems designed to replace human workers with robots and algorithms. The company's proposed $24.6 billion merger with Albertsons was supposed to give it the scale to compete with Walmart and Amazon. But that deal has faced massive regulatory resistance, leaving Kroger stuck in limbo while costs keep climbing. Here's what most people don't realize. When a Kroger closes in a mid-sized American town, it doesn't just mean families have to drive further for groceries. It means local suppliers lose contracts. It means part-time workers lose income. It means the entire rhythm of a community shifts. Industry experts are now warning that if grocery chains fail to restructure quickly, the United States could see the largest wave of supermarket closures since the 2008 financial crisis. And the most alarming part is that Kroger is supposed to be the strong one. If Kroger is feeling the pressure this intensely, imagine what's happening to the chains with less money and fewer resources.
Number 6. Macy's.
And this is where nostalgia meets cold, hard reality. For more than 100 years, Macy's was woven into the fabric of American life. Every holiday season, families gathered around the Thanksgiving Day parade in New York, then wandered through glowing store floors, choosing outfits for Christmas dinners and special nights out. Macy's didn't just sell clothing. It sold tradition, nostalgia, and the feeling of an era that seemed permanent. Today, that vision is unraveling fast. In 2025, Macy's announced plans to shut down more than 150 stores, eliminate 2,300 jobs, and even consider selling off valuable real estate simply to keep cash flowing. Over the past 3 years, company revenue has fallen by roughly 25%. Stock prices have dropped more than 60%, and malls that once depended on Macy's to drive foot traffic now sit surrounded by empty parking lots and half-dark corridors. But the real story isn't found in financial reports. It's felt behind locked doors. A longtime employee in Ohio recalled the moment their store sign was removed. People cried that day, not just because they were losing their jobs, but because it felt like America was saying goodbye to part of its past. And here's the truth that nobody at Macy's wanted to face. While platforms like Amazon, Shein, and Temu offered lower prices and doorstep delivery, Macy's clung to an aging luxury identity until rising costs made that strategy impossible to sustain. Former flagship locations in cities like Chicago and Los Angeles are now being transformed into apartments, offices, and co-working spaces. A brand that once defined Black Friday has become part of its own final clearance sale. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about where traditional retail is headed. Number 7. Best Buy. And if you thought electronics stores were safe because people always need gadgets, think again. Best Buy was once the undisputed king of consumer electronics retail, the store where you went to see the latest TVs, test out laptops, and ask questions before making a big purchase. That in-person experience used to matter. It used to be the entire point. But in 2025, Best Buy is closing stores at a pace that would have been unthinkable 5 years ago. The company has already shut down hundreds of locations since 2020, and more closures are being planned. Revenue has declined as consumers increasingly buy electronics directly from manufacturer websites and Amazon, often at lower prices and with faster delivery. Here's what really killed Best Buy's model: showrooming. Customers walk into a Best Buy, test out the product they want, ask employees every question imaginable, and then pull out their phone and order the exact same item online for $50 less. The store essentially becomes a free showroom for Amazon. Best Buy's employees do the work. Amazon gets the sale. The company has tried to fight back with price-matching policies, membership programs, and in-home consultation services, but the math is brutal. Maintaining massive retail footprints with high rent, large staff, and expensive inventory while competing against online retailers with none of those costs is a losing proposition. And for thousands of Best Buy employees who built careers helping customers find the right product, the message has been devastating. The expertise they spent years developing is being replaced by a search bar and a 2-day shipping guarantee.
Number 8. Subway. And this one is a dramatic fall from grace that honestly deserves its own documentary. There was a time when Subway represented fast food with a healthier image. Those green and yellow signs were everywhere, on city corners, near schools, inside strip malls, and the smell of freshly baked bread drifted through the air. Subway felt familiar, affordable, and impossible to escape. Today, that presence is shrinking faster than almost anyone expected. In 2024 alone, more than 400 locations shut down, and according to Bloomberg, over 2,000 additional stores could disappear within the next 3 years. Let that sink in. 2,000 more closures from a company that was once the largest restaurant chain in the world by store count, surpassing even McDonald's. Subway's biggest mistake wasn't competition, it was overexpansion. The brand franchised aggressively, opening locations in gas stations, college campuses, airports, and nearly any space available, often without consistent quality control. When sales began to drop, small franchise owners were left drowning. One franchise owner in Florida explained it bluntly: "I used to sell more than 200 sandwiches a day. Now I barely move 60. Franchise fees went up, and we're the ones absorbing the losses." At the same time, American consumers have fundamentally changed how and where they eat. People now want food that feels genuinely fresh, locally branded, and less corporate. Long chains no longer hold the same appeal they once did, but Subway kept clinging to its old identity, rolling out repeated Eat Fresh campaigns without meaningfully updating its menu or customer experience. As Subway locations vanish, they're being replaced by competitors like Jersey Mike's and Firehouse Subs, brands that feel more personal, more flexible, and better tuned to what customers actually want. In 2025, an empire that once boasted more than 40,000 stores worldwide is now contracting, shrinking away like the cold sandwiches left behind in empty display cases. Number 9. Red Lobster. And if you've been following this channel, you already know this story, but it deserves to be repeated because it's one of the most stunning collapses in American restaurant history. For decades, Red Lobster was the go-to spot for family celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, promotions, the sizzling seafood platters, the warm Cheddar Bay biscuits, the feeling that dinner was an event. That legacy took a catastrophic turn in May 2024 when Red Lobster officially filed for bankruptcy protection, shutting down more than 100 restaurants across the country in a single sweeping move. And what stunned most observers wasn't a lack of customers, it was the company being undone by its own promotion, the all-you-can-eat shrimp deal. In an attempt to lure diners back during a period of high inflation, Red Lobster rolled out unlimited shrimp as a value offer. It was supposed to be a lifeline. Instead, it became a financial sinkhole. Guests showed up in large numbers, but soaring seafood prices, razor-thin margins, and declining brand loyalty meant the math never worked. According to internal reports, the company was losing money on every shrimp plate served, turning high traffic into deeper losses. From that point on, the cracks spread fast. Major investors pulled out. Thousands of employees were laid off. Bankruptcy filings revealed more than $1 billion in liabilities, and once iconic locations in cities like Orlando, Houston, and Phoenix now sit dark with 4 lease signs hanging where crowds once gathered. Here's the lesson Red Lobster teaches every business in America. You cannot promote your way out of a broken business model. When your core product costs more to serve than what the customer is paying, every full table pushes you closer to bankruptcy. The age of cheap, unlimited dining is officially over, and Red Lobster paid the ultimate price for being the last one to figure that out. Number 10, and this is the one I've been building to because the scale of what's happening here is unlike anything we've seen before. This is the company quietly planning what could become the single largest workforce reduction in the United States in 2026. Amazon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Amazon is everywhere. Amazon is unstoppable. Amazon is the future. And yes, Amazon's e-commerce empire is still massive. But behind the scenes, the company is reshaping itself at a scale most people haven't fully grasped yet. In 2025, Amazon confirmed 14,000 job cuts, with a projected total that could reach 30,000 before the year is out. When the second largest private employer in the United States starts eliminating tens of thousands of roles, it's more than routine reorganization. It's a warning about where American work is headed. The cuts are concentrated in corporate and technical positions, including teams inside AWS, logistics planning, retail operations, advertising, and artificial intelligence development. Many of the affected employees earned between $120,000 and $210,000 a year. Some held leadership roles overseeing business units worth billions of dollars. The message coming from Amazon is unmistakable. No team, no title, and no department is immune. Behind the scenes, Amazon has poured more than $50 billion into AI, cloud infrastructure, and automated fulfillment. A single robotic fulfillment center can cost anywhere from $30 million to $500 million, and Amazon now runs dozens of them. These facilities operate with a fraction of the human workforce, replacing jobs once handled by thousands of people with machines that never rest, never get sick, and never ask for raises. At the same time, Amazon's retail business is showing signs of strain. Consumers are pulling back on non-essential purchases. Cart abandonment rates are climbing. When millions of shoppers stop buying $29 gadgets and $49 home items, Amazon's margins shrink fast. Cutting up to 30,000 salaries saves billions precisely when revenue growth is slowing. And here's the part that should concern every American paying attention. Amazon isn't just closing stores, it's building the template for what the American economy looks like going forward. Automated, efficiency-obsessed, and increasingly unforgiving to workers. When the company that helped define modern commerce starts cutting this aggressively, it signals something far bigger than one corporation trimming costs. It signals that the old rules of employment, loyalty, and job security in this country are being rewritten in real time. And when you step back and look at the full picture, from Walmart and Walgreens to Macy's and Red Lobster, from Amazon Fresh to Foot Locker to Subway, it becomes painfully clear. This isn't just about a handful of stores closing. This is a fundamental shift happening across the entire United States. People are shopping differently. Operating costs are exploding. Retail crime is rising. Automation is replacing human workers at a pace nobody predicted. And together, these forces are wiping out business models that dominated American life for generations. Every crisis creates opportunity. Some of those empty storefronts will become small businesses, fulfillment centers, or entirely new startups. Retail isn't disappearing. It's being reshaped into something leaner, faster, and far less forgiving. But the transition is going to be brutal for millions of American families, workers, and communities caught in the middle of it. So here's what I want to know. How many of these 10 chains have already disappeared from your neighborhood? Which one hurt the most? And which company do you think will be the next giant to fall? Drop your answer in the comments. I want the real stories, the ones that don't make headlines but change how you live every day. And if this video opened your eyes to what's really happening across the American retail landscape, do me a quick favor. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're here to protect your wallet and keep you informed. No fluff, just the truth nobody else is saying. The next video is on your screen right now. Click it and see if YouTube got it right. See you there.